Okay, so I don't feel like showing my face because I got back to my dorm and just like immediately washed all my makeup off. I'm tired. So, anyway, when I got there, um, I talked to Fatima first. Um, Overall, despite what they were saying, everybody was talking to me in a very kind and civil tone, though what they were saying wasn't very kind, if that makes sense. That's just to say, like, they weren't. I was fine. I took off my Star of David. I tried to be very low key about my questions. I tried to make it like I'm sure they probably like, "Oh, I know how you stand on this matter." But I tried my best to like not say it and make it clear that I just wanted to have a conversation and I was very curious about the art and like getting it from their perspective and their intentions with the art and not just how the message ends up coming across. That being said, um, I'm trying to think and go down the list. So, in like the first section that has all the art of like the moon and stuff, that's referring to a miracle that happened in the Quran. So it's what we thought. It's just about being a Muslim. There's nothing related to Israel in there at all that I know of. I don't actually know like the full story of the moon splitting, so maybe there's like some other stuff behind it. I've got no clue. Then there was the one of the woman and the child with a target on their back. That was the artist referring to after 9/11. Her and her sister were born 2002 and 2003, so they grew up like right after it. So that has nothing to do with Israel either. That's just how they felt growing up in a freshly post 9/11 world. Um, then there's like these two prints. One of them is a girl in a hijab and then like a bunch of faces around her. That was a commentary on like how Muslim women specifically, because you can very easily tell when a woman is Muslim if they're wearing a hijab. It was like they feel like disconnected in a way. It had like some meaning behind it with like social interactions or something. It also had nothing to do with Israel. Um, and then there was the one with like the Arabic word and then like a alien UFO. That one, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that one. The story behind it, at least. The artist, I don't think I really like. It's the other one, not Fatima. But that one, the word in Arabic, I believe she said it says like now or something. And when you say it in Arabic, it sounds a little bit like alien in English. She made it based off of a story that one of her like high school teachers said, something about like there will be no world peace until aliens invade, because then there will be another enemy besides each other. And I was like, all right, can't argue there. So that one also. I mean, I guess you could kind of interpret it as including what's going on, but not like inherently related to Israel. The one with the Muslim woman and the weird dude with the long neck, that's also just about how she feels as a Muslim woman. That has nothing to do with Israel. I mean, the way she kind of explained it was kind of like the person with the long neck, that's like, oh, fuck, she explained it like, I guess so perfectly. It kind of did. But it's also, she was also like, it's like up into interpretation, but it's like a gentle disagreement. Some people aren't, I'm quoting vaguely, some people aren't, um, they say they're having a gentle disagreement, but what they say isn't gentle, they're attacking or whatever. I was like, all right, sure, yeah, we're definitely the ones throwing fits when there's something we don't agree with, but whatever. There was also a whole thing how the Muslim woman was very, like, developed artistically, but the other person wasn't. Like, there's a lot more depth and shading and dimension to the Muslim woman and not the other person. And she was like, I left it that way because the people that act like this are not developed. Ha ha ha. And I was like, all right, sure. Moving on. Can't say anything. I didn't really want to. Didn't know what I would say. But she also made the one of the Muslim woman that had, like, the colors of the Palestinian flag on it, and, like, instead of her face it shows, like, a bunch of people walking. I forget what she called it. It was like the first tragedy. She painted some very famous photo, I'm guessing, because she was like, I'm sure you guys know what this is. I was like, I don't know what this is, but okay. I also am not as aware as I should be with different historic photos. I guess I'll just say it like that. So that one was hers. It was something like it was showing the people being kicked out of their homes, specifically the Palestinians being kicked out. I was like, okay, sure. And then she also made the art of the oil and the blood. And that one was more of a general commentary on Arabic states that are being essentially, like, the environment is being just ripped apart for oil, specifically by America. And, like, yeah, that's true. So it's, do we bleed it? Like, is our suffering worth the oil? That kind of thing. Also not inherently about Israel. That one did need explanation, because I was like, oh, maybe it's, like, about how the oil industry is funding the war or some bullshit. But no, it's just about oil in general. The oil companies in general. And now we move on to Fatima's art. The one with the plastic bags is, she talked about how, like, as an immigrant, as the child of immigrants, or as an immigrant child, I can't remember exactly what she said. She was always taught, like, you can't waste anything. Don't ever waste anything. Everything has a purpose. But then, like, when she sees the people around her, like, everything just feels like it's getting wasted. There's lots of litter and plastic and trash. So that was a commentary on, like, litter and stuff. So, again, nothing anti-Semitic, anti-Israel about that one. It's just a cool piece about waste. The We the People thing, she said something that the shape of the table was supposed to be different, but then she changed it. And then she made the connection of tables are also used as desks. Desks are used by students. So there was definitely something more to that one, but she didn't outright say. So I don't know. I honestly thought the shape looked like really weird goggles. So I don't know what shape it was supposed to be. The hand, the ceramic hand, is obviously about the press. She was making commentary about how the press is apparently being targeted in Gaza. You know, you guys understand that one. And she even made the connection of her pencil is her sword. That kind of, it took all of me not to roll my eyes about that, but whatever. Next, I'm trying to think of, like, how the walls are set up. Next was the weird map. That was an accident, she said. I did ask her about that. I was like, because I was like, I'm an artist, so I know sometimes little details have, like, deeper meanings, but at the same time I might be reading into this. Did you mean to include part of Jordan in your map? And I didn't say, like, Israel or Palestine or anything. I just pointed to that one and I said, the map. So, but I think she was like, that was probably when she was like, oh, this person didn't say the name. I think I know where she's coming from. But she was still outwardly nice to me. Whatever her private thoughts were, she kept them to herself, which bare minimum, but I don't know, it's something. So including part of Jordan was an accident. She didn't mean to. She was using Google Maps, or not Google Maps, but a map from Google that she used as a reference. So she was probably just eyeballing it, and it just ended up including part of Jordan by accident. Which, like, think you'd be a bit more careful about that, but okay. But yeah, that one, the message is very obvious what it's supposed to be, and she did call the whole thing Palestine, so I think we can understand what her intentions are, with how she thinks. I'm assuming to her there's no solution besides Israel not existing anymore. What she thinks is going to happen to all the people living there, I don't know. I didn't get into that with her. It wasn't worth it. Next was the bracelet. That was something she actually made like a while ago. She said it was like a year old. She's a metalsmith major. So the Made in Resistance, the way she said it, the original thing was made in resistance in relation to like the material and like how it's supposed to look versus how she ended up making it look, because she pointed out like after you do something with metalsmithing, you're supposed to like kind of clean it up and polish it and whatever, and she didn't do that, like going against the norms in that way. But it ended up also fitting the gallery, so she just brought it in as well. So original meaning, probably nothing to do with Israel. The meaning now definitely has something to do with Israel. And then the one with the American flag and the blood, fake blood, and the Declaration of Independence written into it, that was also an older project of hers that the meaning is right there. It's a commentary on America. That's kind of all it is. Which I guess you could bring in Israel to that, but I feel like there's worse art in there that's very obviously anti-Israel that shouldn't be up, like the bracelet, the Declaration of Independence and the flag alone, separate from this gallery. I don't think you would pull any sort of like anti-Israel meaning from that unless you like knew the artist. But with the gallery, it gives it more or new meaning. Anyway, the little clay people, that was also the other artist. So it is actually both of them, not just Fatima. So if you guys haven't written your emails yet, include both of them. It's an interactive piece. I didn't know that, even though there's a sticker that's right there. But the little ceramic bent cups are meant to represent bags. And then obviously the body parts of, she said civilians. And I'm not going to argue that civilians have gotten hurt in the war. I think that's just a given. But like how their body parts have to be like picked up. And there's no way to find all of them or something. So that is, you're supposed to like put it into the bag or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely a commentary on Israel for that one. Going back to Fatima, I feel, well, I don't know if I want to say I feel bad if I'm saying her name wrong, because I don't know. But I have a friend that has the same name, or I had a friend in like elementary school, and she was cool, she was nice. Anyway, that's besides the point. The big piece in the middle, The stuffed animal is supposed to represent a child, specifically a dead child. The scarf that's around it is supposed to show a burial. The Star of David, I asked her. Her intentions were not specifically to show Jewish people doing this. It was meant to represent Israel, which I did bring up. Most of Israel is Jewish. But it was like a slight comment. And kind of moved past that. But, so for that one, what it comes across as is blood libel, the ritualistic killing of children, specifically by Jews. That was not her intention, though. However, it still says from the river to the sea on it. There was still a Star of David. I had like an argument with myself in my head. I was like, well, if you wanted to show that it was Israel, then put the 2 fucking lines on it. Then you'll know it's representing the flag and not the Jewish people. But I didn't say that. I did not say that. In my head, I was thinking it, though. So yeah, her intention wasn't to represent blood libel. That she said to me. Who knows if her personal intention was to show blood libel. I don't know. But it still comes across as very anti-Semitic. We've got from the river to the sea, Star of David above a dead child with blood on a missile. I'd say pretty clear message. If she didn't want to show blood libel or be anti-Semitic about it, she should have been a bit more careful with it. What else? All of the stars actually now have little dots over them, even the ones that are just like regular 5-pointed stars that are meant to show America. They've all been dotted out, and she mentioned the backlash, so they're aware of it. And they've been feeling it, which is good. But the way they worded it made it sound like we were emailing them personally and being like, you're anti-Semitic. You should go die. Take your art down. It's horrible. I fuck you. Hate you. And that's just not true. I mean, unless there's some rando that did. But I know I didn't. Yeah, they were like, we've been getting a lot of backlash. We've been getting a lot of hate. You know, they kind of like hinted, because everybody else there would like agree with them, probably. So they're like, oh, you know these kinds of people. They're always getting upset about stuff. There was like that kind of energy, and I was like, girl, shut up. Respectfully, shut up. Again, didn't say that. Felt it, didn't say it. The journals, the artist notes. The other girl, as far as I know, maybe had a few Stars of David in her book, and the Hillel Jewish fellow wrote the Bibas family, just like in big letters and pen on one of the pages. As far as I know, that was kind of it in her journal. Fatima, on the other hand, I'm sure I think we've all written in her journal something along the lines of, hey, your art is anti-Semitic. Also, fuck Hamas. Shit like that. The other night, Sophia drew 2 Stars of David in pencil. I checked, somebody tried to erase them. That's interesting, but whatever. And I'm gonna come back to like the journals being brought up, but somebody else had written in there, because I was looking through it before. It was in between my classes much earlier in the day, before I knew what time the reception was. Somebody wrote, like, these people are cowards, they wouldn't even put their name on it. I put my name on it. At the same time, I also have not the most basic white girl name in the world, but there's like a million people with the last name White, and Kayla is not an uncommon name. Like, if you look in what your email is, if somebody else had that name, had like the same name as you, then they start like, you have a number at the end of your email. And I'm Kayla White 5. At my doctor's office, that is like 40 minutes away, there is another Kayla White. Like, they have to put our middle names on our files so they don't get mixed up. So, I put my name. I put a little arrow. I was like, hey, hi, I'm Kayla White. Your arts are anti-Semitic, by the way. So, yeah, I'm just mentioning that. That's just how they're feeling, what they're saying about it. But the other girl, I can't remember her name, she brought it up and she was like, hey, I got a new journal if you want to write a note, because there was so much hate speech in it. But Fatima decided to keep hers as is, so she's going to have to read all the notes. Good. That's kind of what I wanted. Let her read it, see how upset we are with it. There's nothing inherently hateful in there. I mean, from my perspective, it's all, hey. I guess it's more aggressive than just a hey, but it's like, your art's anti-Semitic, by the way. Also, fuck Hamas, like I said before. It's all like that kind of vibe. I guess for our interpretation of it, that's her. She might be reading it differently. I don't know. But as far as I know, it kind of caught me off guard. Because last time I checked, earlier today, the only thing that, like, brought up Israel in the other girl's journal was the Bibas family. And she decided to change her whole ass notebook because the Bibas family was written in it. And she called it hate speech. So, that's interesting. That was a choice. It very much was a choice. I mean, I don't know. And maybe there was some other writing in there. But as far as I know, her journal just said the Bibas family. Yeah. So that was kind of it. Also, update on the emails. I tried to see if Stephanie Spiker was going to be there. Apparently she was around somewhere, but she was also, like, taking care of another event that was happening in, like, the syndicate or some shit. But there was another person there, an adult faculty, and I pulled her aside. I was like, hey, I'm a part of SSI and Hillel. We've been sending emails to you. I talked with the artists, like, you were there, you saw me walking around and interacting with them, being very civil. I wanted to hear from the artists what their intention was. So that's why I'm here. I'm not trying to start anything, just to be clear with that. But despite the intentions not being as bad as what the art actually is showing, it still shouldn't be up. Have you gotten our emails? Is something going to be done? And she said that, like, her position with whatever she does with the faculty, there's nothing that she can do, really. Like, she can't take down the art, you know? I was like, all right, that's fine. But she did say that everybody we emailed is aware of our emails and they're working on a response. So that's good. They're aware of it. They're writing something back. It's good that I think they're taking their time in a way. They're not just farting out the first thing that comes to their head. They're working on an actual response. But she let me know. She was like, was your name on the email? And I was like, yes. She's like, okay, I'll let Stephanie know that you came by. And we will have emails back pretty soon. Probably next week because, as far as I know, none of the staff emails over the weekend. And it's already Friday. So, yeah. That was kind of it. There was nothing, like, in your face like, oh, we hate Jews. Death to all the Jews. Or death to Israel, or anything like that. But the hate was still there. Still don't think the art should be there. It should be taken down. Except for maybe some of the other girls' art. And the one with the Declaration of Independence. Those ones are fine, I guess. Probably. And I don't like the artists, but I don't really have to, I guess. As long as their, like, personal opinions aren't being shown. Personal opinions specifically on Israel. because their personal opinions are hate. So that's why. I think that's it. I feel so sad that my recording got busted. I tried so hard. I'm kind of wondering if she thought that I was recording her, because I don't know if she just was like nervous because she was presenting, they were both presenting art. Like, it makes sense. Obviously, you're going to be nervous talking to a big crowd, even if they all agree with you. You're going to be nervous. But she like kept looking down. I was like trying to make eye contact, and she kept looking down because she was nervous. But I couldn't tell if she was like looking at my phone or looking at the ground. I tried to make it look like I was just holding my phone, because really all I wanted was the audio. We've all seen the art. They've got like their social media and stuff, so finding their faces isn't gonna be hard, but I don't know. Everybody else that was there, it was just mostly Muslim women. There really wasn't that many people. Like, while I was in there, maybe probably less than 30 people. But of course, people, like, they come and go, so still kind of too many that are coming to celebrate anti-Semitic art, but that's their choice. Their choice to be hateful, and our choice to be the bigger person, I guess. Yeah, that's all. This is a lot longer than I thought it would. Good yap sesh.